What are your views on the cashless welfare card? The trials are being rolled out in the Kimberley and in Ceduna and a few other places. Alan Tudge, the Minister, says this is a great step forward. Others say no, it's not. It's creating havoc in Indigenous communities.
Yeah, the evidence would suggest that it is actually making a difference, although it's not a black and white argument. There is good evidence.
Is that a deliberate pun?
No, it's not. The evidence is that it's actually helping to end some of the dreadful social conditions in some of those communities where it's been tried. I often get a Libertarian question about this: is it okay to tell people how to spend their money or what they can spend their money on? And the issue here is that it's not earned money; it is somebody else's donation, basically. And if in the
what do you mean?
In the days, well, I was just explaining. In the days before government welfare, there was private welfare. So a person might
philanthropy,
say,
yes, but you're saying welfare is a donation rather than a right?
Yes, that's right.
So
welfare is not a right. That's right. So
it's not a fundamental human right to have income security for people who can't support themselves.
No, welfare is charity.
So as a community, we shouldn't look after each other.
No, as a community, we do look after each other. We've made a decision to do it, but that doesn't change the fact that it is charity. So in the days before we had a welfare state, you might be a wealthy radio announcer and you might say, well, I know some children who are in very unfortunate circumstances. I'm going to pay for them to have health care or education or something like that. Now, if as those kids grew up, they were doing things that you didn't approve of, taking drugs, for example, you might say, well, I'm not going to give you any more money if you continue doing that.
So that's a very judgmental, almost Dickensian approach to income support.
No, I don't think so. If you were a private donor, giving charity to somebody,
but we're not. We're a society, a community, and we recognise that people are entitled to a safety net.
No, that money is taken from you and me, us taxpayers, and the only difference between private charity and what we do now is the government is the intermediary in the middle.
No, there's a huge difference. There's a conceptual difference, Senator.
No, at the end of the day, it is other people's money. It is not government money, it's other people's money, and the government is not being compassionate, it's just acting on our agreement that we do not want little kids suffering and people starving and those sorts of things in our society. But at the end of the day, they are getting free money. So to put conditions on free money, but to say to them, well, you can't go and spend that money on gambling or getting on the grog or something like that, when they haven't worked for it. Now, it's different if they've worked for it. When they haven't worked for it, it's perfectly legitimate.
So many assumptions embedded in your answer. First of all, there are people who move from being in the workforce and paying taxes to being out of the workforce and receiving income support and then going back into the workforce and paying taxes and then going back out of the workforce and needing income support again. You're not acknowledging that that's the lived experience of so many people at all. You're saying there are people who just are perpetually relying on the taxpayer.
No, it doesn't change the fact that if you want to place conditions on free money, I think we're perfectly entitled to place conditions on free money. Once somebody has worked for it and earned it, that's when the other side of the argument kicks in. It's not the government's business to take that money off them and say, oh, we can spend it better than you can. Once you've earned it, it's yours, and you should actually be able to keep more of it and pay less of it to the government. That's the whole argument against high taxes and doing things for you that you can do perfectly well for yourself.